Go ahead. You have the floor.
Okay. Well, my son is a freshman. Your daughter's a freshman in high school. He's playing football.
Yes.
I broke the old lady down.
Yeah.
He just loves it so much. He was done with flag football. He's putting the pads on. They had their first game last week. He's tall somehow, and I have to look into this even more, but he's almost 6'1". He's playing linebacker.
What do you mean look into it? Like,
I'm short.
Do 23
My wife's
and
short.
me?
Yeah, it just doesn't make sense. I'm eyeballing every FedEx guy that comes by. Like it's
any FedEx guy is 6'2" and over.
Yeah, it's all right. I try to ignore it, but it's obvious, so we have to figure it out.
Your son he's like a mutant.
He is very big.
He's 14?
Yeah,
and he's
14.
like 6'1",
right.
and just looks like he's going to be like 6'8".
Right, so he has to play football.
Yeah.
He loves the game. He watches all the games and plays. Never tackled before. Goes in there. First game, 2 tackles. Only played half the game at linebacker, played the full game guard. 2 tackles. Recovered a fumble. Tipped 2 passes. They beat a team from Compton, 34-16.
Yeah.
The quarterback's good. Quarterback trained with Matt Leinart over the summer. Could be a good team.
This is Manhattan
freshman
Beach,
year.
9th grade?
Ninth grade, freshman year. Everything's great. And we get the announcement from the wife that 1 concussion and he's done. And so,
wow.
And I thought about this and I'm like, I have to have her back. And so I did. And I told my son, I was like, that's right. 1 and you're done. And that's why if you ever feel woozy, don't freaking say anything. And my wife didn't like that too much. It's terrible. I know it's a bad thing. We shouldn't be laughing about this, but is that fair in your estimation? 1 and done? Am I just a horrible father if he gets 1 and I'm like, well, you can keep going?
It's like half a 1?
Yeah. I mean, is it bad enough we're letting him play? And then if he had 1, I shouldn't even be talking about it, but it's a possibility, right?
It's incredible start to Bear Quarter.
Is Carmack still? They bailed?
Canceled. Start the search for your next car at CarMax.com anyway, even though they're not with us anymore.
I don't want to make a joke of it, but is that where we're at? Like, if you let your kid play, you can only allow like 1 of these weird things.
I think that's a smart way to handle this. Yeah.
All right.
The 1 and done.
Okay.
The new 1 and done.
I'm fine. I'm fine with that.
My son,
mm-hmm.
my mother-in-law comes and sends him a gift certificate for Amazon because she's coming. And I forget what it was for. It was for like back to school or something. So he's all excited. And he decides he's going to spend the money on the gift certificate himself.
Mm-hmm.
We get a $50 BB gun.
Oh,
that was for ages 16 and over. And
what do you mean we get?
We get it in the mail.
Oh.
We're like, oh, it's some package from Amazon. It's a BB gun with 200 bullets in it. And it's for people 16 and over. And my wife's like, what the hell is this? Why did we get a BB gun?
Right.
Ben claims it was he wanted to buy a prop gun because when he acts out scenes from movies in the backyard, that he wanted to have a prop gun.
What's he acting out Scarface? What kind of movies is it?
He sees different movies.
Freddie Mercury shot up Live Aid? I don't remember.
So that happens. And then a day later, this fake knife comes in the mail.
Oh, no.
And it's one of those knives where you stab somebody and the blade just sinks in. It's like a prop thing.
Yeah.
And we're like, what's going on? Do you need to see a psychiatrist? And he's like, I just need props for the backyard. And we're like, what the hell is going on with you? And he thought it was like the funniest thing. And I forget, what was the other thing he bought? Oh, the third thing was the Szechuan sauce.
$50.
So Rick and Morty's
McDonald's Szechuan sauce.
has this McDonald's Szechuan sauce.
You can't kill anyone with that.
You can't kill anyone with the Szechuan sauce. It's like a joke, right?
Yeah, it's an episode that Ben loves Rick and Morty, and he just wanted to get it. And they brought it back for a limited time for McDonald's, and now you can only get it from third-party sellers for like X amount of dollars.
So he bought that as well. It all came in. It was
$50.
It was all smushed. Half of the Szechuan sauce was all whatever. It was more than $50 because he'd already had some stuff. So the 3 things he bought were something he thought was a prop toy gun that was actually a BB gun
Yeah.
that he's never even seen. A knife that he was pretending to stab us with, but then immediately broke because it was like $1.
That's good.
And then Szechuan stuff that all broke and it spilled all over the place. The other thing with him was when we bought Kyle a Flash Gordon jersey, and Ben's grown now, so none of the Pats jerseys fit. So I was like, do you need another Pats jersey? And he's like, I do. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to get you a new Pats jersey. Which one do you want? He's like, I want my name on it.
Aaron Hernandez.
No, he didn't want that. So I'm like, all right, you want your name on it? So I get Simmons, what number? He's like, no, I want melatonin. That's his rap name?
You should know better. Of course, it's the name he wants.
So he wanted melatonin 69 because the rappers have 69.
Right.
And he's like, and I'm like, I'm 1,000% not doing that. So he got 33. So Kyle has a Flash Gordon jersey and my son has a melatonin 33. And he's like, it's going to be good for our first video. And I'm like, you're 11? You're gonna go to jail? You just bought a BB gun online? You're 11?
Oh, man.
So
33 for Larry Bird, but on the Patriots. And melatonin? Is that what?
Yeah.
Okay.
33, it's like a Simmons family
gotcha.
number. And melatonin, and he's all fired up. I'll post an Instagram photo. He's all fired up. He thinks it's going to be great for the rap video.
Nice.
And that's my son, who's now starting 6th grade, who is playing, he's going to do the travel baseball and play for the football team.
Oh, really?
And hopefully not do Last Boy Scout with the prop gun he bought. as he's running on the field.
Well, there you go, Carmax. BB guns, knives, and concussions. We're back. All right, so this weekend I was watching the Three Boys, and my wife was away for the weekend. And, you know, I have to say, like, she does a great – these kids wouldn't be alive if it weren't for her. Like,
no
it has
question.
nothing to do with me at all. But watching kids over the weekend versus during the week is different, right? Like, during the week, you have to – bring them to all kinds of practices and extracurricular activities after school. You have to do homework. It's bad. It's tough. You have to make lunches. She does a great job with that. But on the weekend, as long as there's no sports and soccer hasn't started for my little one yet, my oldest one plays football during the week. If there's no sports, that's easy pickings, right? You could just set them on their own. They're on their iPad and you feed them a couple times a day. And that's that. So that was my plan. So I wake up Saturday morning. And I start on my book, and I get done about 9 a.m., 9:30. I'm like, all right, I should go down and feed these kids. And I go downstairs. I say to the youngest one, I was like, what do you want? Do you want cereal or oatmeal? I'm praying he doesn't say oatmeal because that involves me like putting hot water in something. You know what I mean? Rather than just pouring cold milk into a bowl. He says cereal. We go through it. He likes Chex. And I go in the pantry, I go to pull out the checks, and he comes behind me. He's got a full bag. He's got now an empty bag of peanut butter pretzels. And he's eating all of these. And I was like, oh, my God. He's already had breakfast on his own. He didn't wait for me. What a terrible father I am. And I'm like, I'm like, look at you. You're going to be a real fatty. And he says to me, he's like, well, you're already fat, and just walks away.
Wow.
And that was it. I was like, all right, I'm going back up to my room. I'm going to ride alone. I don't need to see these little bastard kids for another 3 hours.
You just ditched them.
So that's it. Yeah, not that much of a great story, but
you feel like it's easier on the weekends because it's really up to you how much you want to put in.
Right. Oh, it's got to be easy.
Because you can just throw iPads and cereal at them and basically do your own thing on a Saturday.
iPad,
but on like
cereal.
A Friday, you got to drive people places.
You could also just feed them and not see them. I could order Postmates, or they could come to the door.
Do you let your kids order from eating apps?
I haven't yet. I'm a little worried about that. You're at that stage now, right?
Well, my son, the immortal Ben Simmons, had a very brief Postmates run that ended abruptly when guys were showing up from Chipotle with one burrito. And we were like, all right, but that's coming off your phone. But so my parent corner, I want to preface this by saying that my daughter's soccer team, I think our parents are really particularly, it's a good group. We have no bad apples. We have been trained to behave really well on the sidelines. Our coach really does believe like if we're supposed to stay quiet, just cheer, not tell our kids what to do, all that stuff. And definitely don't yell at the refs. Let him handle it if he gets mad. So we're playing this big tournament this weekend in Oceanside, and we win the first 2 games, and we advance to the semifinals. But there's still 1 game left on a Sunday morning, and basically it's like, all right, we'll just kick the ball around, just try not to get anyone hurt. It's one of those games because we got to be really ready because semifinals and the finals are on a Monday.
Right.
So game starts really physical, getting more and more physical, and the lead, the center umpire, whatever he's called, the lead ref, it seems pretty young. Doesn't seem like an adult. Seems like he might be 16 or 17 max and has no idea what he's doing. It's starting to get chippier. Second half starts, and now it's like rollerball. And our kids are getting taken out. It's fouls left and right. At one point, I thought our midfielder, who's a nice kid, actually whirled around with their fist clenched. I thought we're actually going to have a fight on the field. Like it was getting like that out of control. And the ref's doing nothing. We're yelling. And, you know, from a parent standpoint, the only thing you want is you don't want your kid to get hurt in a game, right? So we're all like, we're reacting as parents like, you got to get control of this game. What are you doing? Now he's getting mad at us. The other team's doing more and more. Finally, one of our kids just gets decked and her head hits the grass.
Oh, no.
She's like kind of half crying, but really more upset. We're all going nuts. And now it's like, you know, in the NBA where it's like the trainer, when there's a fight, the trainers pretend that they have to like make sure the players don't run on the court so they don't get suspended. So we're a combination making sure nobody gets mad enough to actually like charge somebody. Our coach comes out and he's like the maddest I've ever seen him. He ends up getting thrown out, gets a red card. So now we're up 1-0 in this game. Now we just want it to end because it's like somebody's going to get hurt in this game. This is crazy. It's like a 15-year-old girls soccer game. It's so stupid. There's a penalty kick with like a minute left that they call us for some penalty in the box. This ref who is now like, you know, he's like the 1972 Olympics basketball ref. Calls this crazy penalty, and now this other team has a penalty kick with a chance to tie it. Our goalie ends up saving it. We win the game. The ref sprints off past us to get away from us, and runs to the whatever the tent to put in the score. And our manager follows him, and I follow because I want to make sure like nothing else happens.
Yeah.
Go over, and the ref is basically like unraveling, like he's in the Blair Witch Project. And he's telling our manager, like, I'm sorry, I know I didn't do my best. And it becomes clear this kid's like 15.
Oh, no.
And somebody must have called in sick. But this is like a big tournament. Like you have like real refs for this. And it's clear like he just shouldn't have been in the spot. And meanwhile, we almost had rollerball in this youth soccer thing. So I'm like conflicted because I'm like, we're yelling at this guy, but we also wanted our kids to be safe. But on the other hand, we're, you know, yelling at this kid and he's 15 and whatever. So for this episode of Parent Corner, I'm not sure how I feel about this whole thing. But at one point, one of the parents on our team, because somebody was taking pictures and was like, we have pictures. And the guy looked over, like was scared, like we were going to blackmail him. Meanwhile, it's just pictures of our kids getting elbowed in the back and tripped and knocked over.
Yeah, what does he have to see picture? He lived the game, right?
All right. So hearing that story, what do you think our role is on the sidelines? A normal group of parents who are just supportive, who don't say a lot, who are now worried one of their kids are going to get hurt. How far can we go in that situation?
I think first of all, I think it's very hard to see your kid get repeatedly injured or busted up and nothing being done about it. But I think you did well keeping your cool. The X factor could be the other parents. How much are they egging it on, or are they just telling you, "Oh, shut up, stop being a baby"? Because that could could turn you nuclear.
So,
you know? And then you lose it all.
Right. So this was, I will say, the other parents did not do that, which I thought was a good thing. And
well, then you did the right thing. You recognized that it was a young, overwhelmed referee, and it sucked that these calls weren't made. But I think the answer is you have to send Ben Simmons to these games with his BB gun.
Well, I did. So we had this semifinal game today, and we lost in penalty kicks, which was devastating. But right before the game, and I say this every year, I'm just going to say this again for everyone's benefit. you're supposed to pick a side and put your chairs on one side. All the parents are on one side. The parents from the other team are on the other side. And the reason you do this is just because if there's a situation like that game when it turns into rollerball, you don't want parents right next to each other because then that could, God knows what happens. Parents, like right near the start of the game, these two ladies put the chairs on our side. And I kind of looked at them. I was like, you guys have to go to your side. And the lady does the eye roll and goes, oh, really? Like offended that she has to go to her side. So I'm going to say this again for America's benefit. Stay on your own fucking side. There's two sides. All the parents are on the side that you know. You're on that side. We're on the other side. There's a midfield. There's a whole line that goes right down the middle. And you're on one side or the other. You can't be on both.
I like it. I like it. I'll tell you about my 5-year-old who is playing soccer. Now, he was on this team last season, actually like in the spring, with all his friends in school. Every one of them. There was like 6 friends in his preschool class. They were all on this baseball team. They were the Mets. He loved it. We got along with the parents. We held the end of the year party at our house. They weren't insufferable, the parents. I actually liked them, which is tough for me. It was great. Now they have this soccer team in the fall. And Harrison, my son, is 2 days too old to be in that league. The soccer, the way they sort out the ages for the soccer is different than the way they do it for baseball. So he's 2 days too old. There's a kid on the team that's 2 days younger than him. But my son can't do it because he's 2 days too old. So he has to play on another team. But the coach offers this. He says, hey, I'll just order an extra jersey. He could show up. He's 5. Who gives a shit? That they're not competing for a giant trophy here. The other coaches are going to know. There's no roster. He's not going to call me out. And that'll be that. He can come in as a sub, or there's always 2 kids that can't make it or whatever. I was like, that sounds really good. My wife's like, no. Let's do this by the book. They'll probably let us do that anyway. But let's just let the league decide. I was like, I don't think it's a good idea, but go ahead. Godspeed. Do it. Sure enough, calls up, gets a commissioner on the phone or through email. There are absolutely no exceptions. He cannot play with his friends. He's going to have to be on this other team. So now she's furious. And now I'm not furious. Now I'm like, well, this is your fault. You screwed this up. We could have had the extra jersey. We could have ordered it. It would have been fine. And now he has to play on this other team. And not only now is he playing on this other team, they moved that game for some reason, the schedule. There's 3 games on Sunday. So I have to see. Everything was great. Everything was lined up for a Saturday season. Now he has half the schedule is on Sunday. And their practices are Saturday at 2. So 2 days, 2 weekend days are ruined for 5-year-old soccer.
I have a question.
In the middle of the day, Saturday. I was like, what kind of maniac?
I have a question.
Yeah.
Why are they having practice for 5-year-olds? That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. What are they doing?
I said.
5-year-olds run around like a chicken with their head cut off. There's no practice for them.
That's what I said. I was like, well, he shouldn't go to the practices. We have a couple of beach days left. We have a million things going on. Why at 2:00 do we have to bring him to practice? Like, well, maybe he won't play. Maybe they won't play him. I was like, this is not a scholarship team. Like, I don't get it. So that's that. We're stuck with Saturday and Sunday. Real quick. The older one, the freshman, has a game in Anaheim, football. Yeah. On Thursday. I'm driving out there. I'm about halfway there, and I get a call from my wife saying the game is canceled because it's too hot.
Oh,
too
my
hot
God.
In Anaheim. It's 90 and it's humid, and they don't want to take any chances. And I was like, you got to be kidding me. I know I played through heat like this. I don't want to be the old man saying this, but first of all, this reminds me of the NFL, what we talked about. Why are they scheduling early September games in Carolina and Tampa Bay if they know there's going to be a storm hitting? Same thing here. Same weather in Anaheim every September 10th. Have their games on the road. No, that's it. So I had to turn back. I was like in traffic for 4 hours, but that's that. I'm done.
That's brutal. I can't believe they have practice for 5-year-olds. What is going on with this country?
Yeah, isn't that? It's like, oh, the coaches are nuts. They love it. I was like, if they love it so much, take off work Friday. We'll do Friday at 5 or something.
You throw a soccer ball out with people wearing uniforms of 2 different teams.
Yeah.
And all of them just cluster around the ball. What are they going to practice? Just running into each other? I
was like, you know what? He's not going to remember any of this. He might remember playing with his friends that he grew up with. That would have been cool. But all right, take that away. What are we going to do?
What's his birthday?
When's his birthday? December 30th. So there's a kid who was born January 2nd who's on the team.
Oh, man, that's a tough sports birthday. When people ask me for advice for parenting, the only thing I say is, if you think your kids are going to be athletic, try to game it so that they're born like late January, early February. That's the move.
Yeah, that's good.
If you really want to stack the deck for your children.
I understand for leagues, there has to be a cutoff, but it matters when they're 8, 9, 10 and above. But come on, 5. Let him play with his friends.
5's pretty ridiculous.
Yeah.
My parent corner, there's just a lot to choose from with my son these days. He's really turning into one of the all-time characters. My wife gave him $40 because he was walking downtown to go get coffee or some coffee drink with his friend Ben, and they're going to go walk around.
That's good. That story's good enough right there. You could stop.
Yeah, that was my whole thing. I was like, why'd you give him $40? Why didn't you give him like $10? She's like, I don't know. I just grabbed money from my wallet. So giving him $40, it's like a game show where you're giving like just dumb 11-year-olds money to just spend. Yeah. So anyway, he comes back and there was some sale from a store and he's carrying all this stuff. And he's like, Mom, the store had a sale. I don't forget the name of it. And I got all this stuff. And it was, I can't even describe what the stuff one was a thing. It almost looked like a stand. And he's like, I'm going to keep my trophies on this. He hasn't won a trophy, I don't think, yet. I think he won one baseball trophy. So it's like, so that's great. This ugly stand, I don't even know where it's going to go. You have that. And then it was like there was one giant long key that he really liked because it looked like a key from a scary movie. And it's like, look at this. It was marked down from $10 to $1. It's like, yeah, because it's a fucking giant key. Who would want this?
Do you know what it says?
Are you sure it wasn't?
Yeah, what did it say?
It says the key to my heart on it.
Oh my God. And then there was like some gold chains. So anyway, he spent the whole $40. Then my wife's mad at him. I was like, why are you mad at him? He's an idiot. You should be mad at yourself. So we have that. Then the other thing was I rejoined my fantasy league with my friends from high school, the one that I was in from like 1990, which I had skipped out on because I didn't want to be in multiple leagues. And then they made me feel guilty.
Yeah.
So I'm back in that, did the online draft, the whole thing. But I wanted I told my son, I was like, we should be partners for this. He's like, great. So we do the draft. He's interested right to the point where he really wanted me to take Baker Mayfield, which might be the only quarterback he knows other than Tom Brady. So we take him and then disappears, is gone for the rest of the draft. Downloads the CBS app on his phone, and then he can look at our team, and he's all excited about that. He's like, hey, Dad, look at our team. We're favored to win this week, all this stuff. I'm going to watch football with you and Kyle on Sunday. I'm like, great. So comes around. It's like 9:55 West Coast time. Like, you going to come out and watch football? So yeah, I'm going to be out there in 1 second. I'm just going to go on the trampoline. Comes in. He's in for 2 minutes. Watches like 2 Baker Mayfield passes. Like, I'll be right back. I never see him again. Just gone the rest of the day. No interest in anything. Then comes back in and starts yelling at me because we also have Lamar Jackson, who I didn't start because I started Baker Mayfield, because that's the only football player my son's heard of other than everyone in the Patriots. And I'm like, I started Baker Mayfield because that was the guy you were all excited about. You wanted Baker Mayfield. He's like, yeah, but Dad, Lamar has 5 touchdowns. What are you doing?
Yeah.
What are you doing? You're so dumb. I'm like, you don't even watch football. You're not even out here. So now we're yelling at each other. And then he ends up not watching any football at all. And now he doesn't care about the fantasy team because we lost and we suck. And I picked a bad team and he doesn't want to be on my team anymore. So that's it.
He's going to end up stabbing you with that giant key.
Well, and then the other thing is he has a Pats jersey that has his rap name on the back because I got Kyle the Flash Gordon jersey. So he got his melatonin jersey and then wouldn't wear that tonight because he was still mad about the fantasy team.
Bastard.
Yeah, because I didn't start Lamar Jackson.
Baker Mayfield basically turned the child off to sports, really, or off to football. All we need to see was 2 Baker Mayfield passes.
Well, what you realize is when we were growing up, all we want to do is like watch sports with our dad, right? It was like, what was better than, oh yeah, watch a game with my pops. They don't want to do that. They just want to watch, a prank video on YouTube.
Yeah. Can you imagine yelling at your father for starting something cracked upside the head so fast?
Well, and then he's been researching his Halloween costume. Who's the guy he's going to be, Kyle? He's going to be this guy from.
Is it a YouTuber? Cause
it's a YouTube
that goes
video.
Right in one ear out my other. I don't know.
And I'm like, who's that, Zoe? And Zoe goes, he's this guy in Daniel Dobrik's video who he sleeps with all these girls and smokes a lot of pot. So Ben thought it'd be funny to be him for Halloween. I'm like, that doesn't sound funny at all. Can he not do that? Oh, and then when Kyle came in today, Ben tried to stab him with his knife that plunges
I heard it was
into
broken,
him.
so I wasn't on the lookout for it. I thought he was actually going to stab me.
So he came at Ben with a knife, and then it plunged in, and then it receded into itself because this was the $1 thing he bought.
He's going to put Kyle on his trophy case.
Yeah.
That's going to be the first
I'm
one.
telling you, you do character of the year every year. This is going to be the first child in character of the year.
I love it.
Sal usually goes first on Parent Corner, but we're going to let House go first this time. House has a good one, Sal.
Well, this is really a testament to the many inadequacies that I possess as a father, as a grown man, as a tech-savvy human being in the 21st century. My son loves the game Roblox. Yeah. It is one of these character-driven, avatar-driven, you're the character in all of these environments and situations. And like a lot of these games where you have one character interfacing with others, you can enhance the shit out of this character's attributes and his navigation skills, his fashion. And my son, very early on, showed a real appetite for making his avatar as handsome as possible.
Yeah. And
also equipping him with whatever modern technology, whatever warfare technology. So he spent $460 last week on Roblox enhancements because I have probably 4 times gone into the stupid effing app and disabled and untethered by PayPal and taken the effing credit card off the thing. And I'll be goddamned if he hasn't figured out what he just do. Pop, 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 pop. And then I get a bill from iTunes, $460 mother effing dollars. And I was like, for what? For what? What is it? Oh, Daddy, he has a mohawk.
Daddy,
I got him a mohawk, a pink mohawk.
My character has an 11-inch penis, Dad. It costs $90.
Yes, so he stuck it right in my ass. He sure did. Are you kidding me? Yeah, so that's my Parent Corner. I'm sure there's a fix for this. If you know the fix, please send it to me on the Twitter at House from DC. Please help me fix the effing Roblox.
I don't think you have to pay for that, but I think it's funnier that you do. So
$460. I hope not.
Just to piggyback on that, my son also did the same thing, and we had to change all the passwords. It's impossible for him to order anything, but somehow I got this bill last night when I was at Rembert's wedding. Shout out to Rembert's wedding, by the way. Great time.
Nice.
And it was a $19.99 Sony Interactive Services PlayStation thing. So he went on my account and bought something that I didn't know what it was. So I emailed him, I texted him, did you buy something? And he emailed me back, look, House, the OFO show Snoop Dogg GIF.
What?
He emailed me a GIF of Snoop Dogg nodding, and it said "OFO show."
Yeah, it's a question mark. Bill Simmons to Ben Simmons. Did you buy something?
And
he fucking responds with a GIF
back, "OFO show," and then he texted me, "I have money," and then he texted, "I pay you back." Not even I'll pay you back. I pay you back. So his grammar continues to be terrible. He turns 12 in 2 months, and he's going my thing. This isn't even my Parent Corner. Sal, you're up.
All right, I'm up. So I told you last week or the week before about my 5-year-old who wants to play soccer with his friends, but he's exactly 2 days too old for that league. So he has to play a league up, and this league plays on Sundays. So good for me. And not only do they play on Sundays, they played Sunday at 1 p.m., which for a football fan on the West Coast is the worst time for a game to start. And by the way, even worse when there's 10 freaking early games and 3 late afternoon games. 10 and 3 is not the ratio anybody wants. So you guys were watching, and House, you had most of these games on your parlay there. Green Bay game, Baltimore game, Detroit game, House, as you were watching, the Pittsburgh game, all came down to the wire. So I'm scrambling to get out of the house. I finally get to the game. I'm like 5 minutes late, but not too late to see my 5-year-old allow 2 goals in 45 seconds. He's playing goalie. And he's throwing a fit. And so they take him out of goal, and now he's slide tackling everyone. He's playing good defense, but he's getting called for fouls every time. And he's really like tackling everybody, like diving into everybody, like doesn't know what he's doing. But when he get called for a foul, he's like crying. So he's like this big bully that turns into a wuss. Like, what the hell's going on here? So they end up losing like 5-0, and I'm like, oh, I can't wait to talk to this kid. I have to get his head straight. This is crazy. He's aggressive and he's sobbing, and it's really weird. And he's crying after every goal by the other team. Wait till I get a hold of him. But before I can get a hold of him, he has to talk to his team. The coach like tells him, "Oh, you did good. We lost, but losing doesn't matter anyway." Not only does the coach feed him that, but they're the Sharks, and he dedicates the Shark of the Week. He acknowledges that there's a Shark of the Week. He pulls out a plastic shark and gives it to Harrison for being the Shark of the Week. And I'm like, what the hell is going on here? How is he the Shark of the Week? He was like blubbering on the ground and pounding. What now? How am I going to say, hey, you did wrong? You got to get it together. And when he's going to hold up the shark and say, oh, really? Someone says that I behaved properly. So the Shark of the Week. So I don't know. This coach is a nice guy and everything, but you didn't do me any favors with these participation trophies. This one coming in the form of a plastic shark with his name on it. It's not like you pass it around. So now he's like waving it around. I can't teach this kid that he behaved improperly. I don't know what to do. Do you guys have any recommendations?
This is just, you've just explained everybody under 30.
Yeah.
I'm going to go to my parent
under
corner.
30 months.
That's ridiculous.
Awful.
So
Shark of the Week.
My parent corner. So my daughter, who I love, who's been on this podcast, who is a really sweet and thoughtful kid. The one hole she has in her sweet and thoughtful resume, not like great at cards and gifts, which makes her like me. The best person I've ever seen at cards and gifts is me and Sal's cousin, Jimmy.
Right, for sure.
Who is kind of the Michael Jordan of gifts. I don't know, what does he have, like a Google Doc, Sal? He knows when everybody's birthday and everything is. He's buying Christmas gifts.
He probably heard you say that, and to thank you for anointing him the best at cards and gifts, bought you like a rookie Larry Bird jersey,
right.
just for saying that.
Really incredibly thoughtful gifts. He's buying gifts for people in like July and March, and just has 300 people filed away in his brain that he's just buying stuff for. My daughter is not that person. And I just somehow ended up with these kids that it's like Mother's Day, and my wife's home and we're about to have dinner, and they're scrambling around grabbing pieces of paper from the printer and hastily making Mother's Day cards. I don't think I've ever gotten a gift from my daughter ever. Maybe I have, but my wife probably bought it. So I bring this up because she's been dating this guy, and they had their 1-month anniversary this weekend. Colin, nice guy. I'll give him a shout out. Colin, I like him. Good first boyfriend. Zoe, I'm like, where's Zoe? Is she out? Oh, she went downtown to buy some gifts for her anniversary. I'm like, what? She comes back and has this whole thing of all these different gifts she bought, and she got him a card, and she made him. So she spent hours like gifts and arranged some photo thing. And I'm listening to this, and I'm just getting madder and madder. So we're in DC for the wedding, and we're FaceTiming her. And she's telling my wife about these gifts she got him, and I'm going to see him tomorrow, and I'm so excited. And finally, I got mad, and I'm like, all I know is you've never gotten me a fucking gift ever.
No.
And then she comes back with, that's not true. I made you that Celtics thing once, which was like 7 years ago. I was away for the finals, and she made me this painting with like 6 Celtics on it. So she had to go back to 2013. So my point is this. You can do the whole daddy's little girl, all that stuff, but as soon as they meet a guy, you're just dumped.
Yeah.
It's like 9 gifts for the new guy. Meanwhile, all I've done is I've been her fucking chauffeur for her entire life, driven her all around Southern California for every soccer tournament. Where's my 9 gifts? Where's my? I went down to Larchmont and bought Dad some gifts because I'm so thankful he stood in 100-degree weather last week to watch me play soccer and sweated and then had to drive 2 hours. No gifts for me.
I think Dad's being a bad first boyfriend. That's what it sounds like to me.
That's a great point. If you were
I
a
don't
better
know.
boyfriend, you would get a
Listen.
gift for one anniversary.
I just stand for. I stand
1
for
month.
what's right is what I stand for. And you know what's right? Get me a Father's Day card. Go to the store. Get me like 3 cards. Just write a nice note. Write a nice sappy note. Make me feel good for a minute.
If you want to feel good, Bill, I could send you a plastic shark. I don't care. I'll put it in the mail tomorrow.
I think you would like it if CarMax sent me a car.
I do love my daughter, though. I should say she will be taking care of me someday when I'm in a nursing
She's a
home.
good
Hopefully
She's
with
the
a view of
best.
the ocean.
Well, I feel bad because this is neither fun or funny, but I'll tell you, I'll say in advance, it has a not so terrible ending. But my son is playing freshman football. It took a lot of convincing of my wife to get this going. I even had Tony Romo a few years back try to convince her and say, hey, come on, he can play contact, right? Contact football's fine. And he's like, he doesn't have to start till 9th grade. So he didn't start until 9th grade, even though all his friends were playing in 7th grade. Now he's on the freshman team. He loves it. The team's pretty good. They have a game, a Thursday afternoon game. One of his teammates catches a ball in the flat, turns around and gets pummeled, helmet to helmet, by a kid who's probably a foot taller. And then he's on the field, this kid, my son's teammate, for the next 40 minutes. And, and his feet are flailing.
Oh,
like,
no.
Like, holy crap. Is this involuntary? Or like at some point, the mother's pretty good with it. She's on the field. It took a long time. Finally, an ambulance came 40 minutes later. They take him to the hospital. He had like a neck injury. He's fine. He has a neck brace. He texted a thumbs up to all his teammates. But yeah, I don't know what to say except that, when you watch your favorite team play and a player on your favorite team, that sucks. And you're like, oh, this is brutal, even on someone on another team. When you're watching your kid's game and it's someone on your kid's team, it's like times 1,000. And then I cannot even imagine as a parent what this is like for 40 minutes, not knowing what's going on. Like I said, everything ended up good, but I'm okay if he decides not to play. And he seems okay. Everyone on the team is okay with it, but it's just so scary. And also it's really bad for my brand. I mean, a lot of the parents are like, oh, how's your brand? Is your brand okay? Like, oh, don't worry about my brand. There's a kid on the field. But no, really, I don't know. I just had a big wake up call with that. And yeah, nothing to say more than that.
Jesus. This is the most depressing parent corner of all time.
I'm sorry. I know it was 40 minutes, but it's relevant relative to what we say, irrelevant.
Yeah.
Well, the other thing is that I have to go to every game. I don't care where the road games are. I have to kind of make every one because this is now I have that on my mind too,
Man. I don't even think.
Sorry to bum you out, but this is the reality of being a parent.
Thank God for Ben Simmons. Because just when you thought Parent Corner was going to get depressing with Ben Simmons. So I can get on his Instagram account and read his DMs and stuff because I pay for his phone and that's part of, that's part of the deal. What I didn't realize, I hadn't checked in a while, is he has this new habit now of DMing celebrities on Instagram and hoping they email him back. So he emailed after we went to the It 2 screening, he DM'd Bill Hader and was like, what's up, dude? He was like, sent him a photo and he was like, I was at the premiere for it. I don't know if he thinks Bill Hader's going to sift through his DMs and maybe hit him back, but it's been a lot of that. There's might have been some women that he's attracted to who's been like, hey, what's up? I think you're great. But my favorite, he texted this rapper named 916 Frosty, who's actually fantastic. He's hasn't blown up yet, but has a couple really good songs. But as you know, my son and his buddy Lucci, they have their rap band. We played that song at the start of the podcast today.
Right.
Tic Tac and Melatonin. So he DMs 916 Frosty on July 23rd and says, dude, you're a god, but it's YOUR. Doesn't even have the no response from 916 Frosty.
No.
Then on August 12th,
We frosted him out.
DMs him again and says, I'm Melatonin. I'm a rapper. I work with Tic Tac. You a god. and then adds Tic Tac for Reals, his rap partner. Adds him just in case maybe he knows Tic Tac for Reals.
Yeah, that had to get his attention, no?
So poor 916 Frosty's going through his DMs and gets, I'm Melatonin. I'm a rapper. I work with Tic Tac. You guys, oh, I didn't realize you work with Tic Tac. Then text him, you're my hero. Still no response. 8 days later, you're the best. YOUR the best. So,
To be fair, I don't think 916 Frosty is disregarding the direct message because he got his your and yours wrong. I mean, he probably
you don't think it was
I think it's important.
he also emailed an actress named McKenna. He just emailed a clapping emoji. He's just going through. It's Nick Kroll he really likes. He told Nick Kroll, hey Nick, big fan. No response from Nick. So my son's celebrity Instagram DM game has been a little off so far.
But it's going to sound obnoxious to start off because it was one day, it was like a Tuesday, and we had the cleaning lady. Only comes once a week. I don't want to sound too crazy, too presumptuous. And the window washers who never ever come, but we weren't able to see outside. Our windows were so filthy. We finally broke down and got window washers to come to the house. So the cleaning lady and the window washers are there the same day. That's Tuesday. Wednesday, we get a text from the cleaning lady. Tough to read, little language barrier, but she says, the oldest boy, I put his money in the black suit in his closet so that the window washers couldn't get to it. I was like, oh, wow, that's nice. First of all, I don't know why my son has money in the first place, but, she took the money and put it away because she thought someone was going to, some of the strangers were going to take it. So my son, I was like, what happened? He's like, oh yeah, I wondered about that. I had like $110 out on my end table and it was gone. I was like, well, why didn't you say anything? He's like, I thought the housekeeper took it and I didn't want to rat her out. What a good kid.
Wow.
Right? Yeah. Pretty good.
Wait a second. Why did he have $110?
Well, that's the other thing. Now I'm going to find out he's like selling meth in the courtyard or something. He's not such a good kid, but no, I think he got it from like babysitting and stuff. It doesn't matter. He lost his effing phone in the camping, so he's going to have to use that to pay that anyway. But anyway, the sentiment is nice. He didn't rat out the cleaning lady.
Or maybe the sentiment isn't nice. Maybe you could have had like this terrible thief in your house and he just would have sat passively and watched it happen.
Oh, interesting. Am I looking at this the wrong way? Shit. I don't know how to evaluate anything anymore. This is why I'm a bad parent.
This isn't my parent corner, but I turned 50 last week.
Oh, yeah.
And I had talked about how my kids, aren't really like, they don't make cards. They don't do stuff like that. And how mad I was when my daughter had her 1 month anniversary with her boyfriend and went to downtown and got her 9 gifts and cards. Right. And so needless to say, I turned 50. No card from either of my children.
Oh, no.
No card. Did I get a gift from either of them? No.
Oh.
No. You know what I did get though? That apparently was more meaningful? Instagram posts from each of them on their Instagram stories, including one from my daughter where she wrote like a really nice long note on Instagram that she claimed she worked forever on, and it was more important than a card.
Wow.
And then my son actually did a very nice short thing for him because he's the least sentimental kid who ever lived. Did a nice little thing with a picture of us, and they both seem pretty convinced that that's a bigger deal than giving somebody a card because their friends can see it. It's the Instagram currency matters more than just handing somebody a Hallmark card. I don't know how I feel about this. So we're going to have to go to nephew Kyle for his reaction. Kyle, what matters more to kids under 15?
Well, to the kids. We're talking about kids.
Yeah. So the kids, they kind of do
get something out of it though. They probably took a good picture of them or like a cute one where people are going to DM
right.
Like, oh my God, you look so cute in that picture when you were 4. Is that what,
Right. So it ties into the narcissistic era we live in now, where now we're raising a generation of kids who can't even give a card because they would rather actually be in the quote unquote card themselves. They also want to win with the card.
Yeah, they're not going to get any likes out of filling out a card for you.
No,
right?
they get
You're
one
gonna
like.
read it twice, and then you're gonna throw it out.
It's a
right?
one liker for them. They're not going to do that. So Friday night, my daughter's boyfriend comes over, brings me a card.
Oh,
no!
Wrote me a really nice card with a note. I'm like, I didn't get a card from either kid, and my freaking daughter's cool boyfriend Colin got me a card. Now I like the kid even more. Now I'm going to be devastated when they break up.
Wow. Yeah, you have to make sure they don't break up.
Yeah.
Oh, that's big. Well, you know what? You should tell your kids from now on, take a picture, take a video of the card, and then put that on Instagram. But I still want a freaking card.
Get some likes out of it.
Yeah. I think everyone wins in that scenario.
Well, that's not even my parent corner.
Oh.
Got home today, and there were these packages at the front door. Said Ben Simmons on them.
Mhm.
Immediately, my reaction, as you can guess, is, oh no. It's two different packages. One of them contained two things. Vampire blood, which looked like an oil thing. And then the other thing was Hollywood quality FX latex wound. So you can put these things on and it makes it look like you've had latex wound.
Right.
So I'm like, all right, that's really weird. What's in the other box? It was a fake axe.
A fake axe?
Yeah, an axe. Like Jack
So he had a
Nicholson
fake
in The
knife
Shining.
a few weeks ago, right?
So now he has a fake knife, a retractable fake knife. Now he has a fake axe, and he has vampire blood and latex wound. So naturally, I had to ask him, like, are you a serial killer? And he said, no, I'm getting ready for Halloween. And that was his answer to that.
It is a little more disturbing if it's February and these things are coming to the door. I understand.
Yeah.
I think you may.
It's awesome. So my dad, who they call Papa Doc, because he's Dr. Bill, they call him Papa Doc. When he comes, Ben always ropes him into buying him stuff on Amazon. He calls him Papazon. So he's like, let's go to can we go to papazon.com? And then my dad, because kids figure out pretty quickly, like the grandparents, especially when they don't live in the same place, they're just the easiest marks there are, right? Like,
right.
They're just so desperate to win over affection over the course of two. They're cramming 3 days of, friendship and affection, whatever else that now has to last for the next 3 months until they see the grandkids again. So they're basically the easiest mark on the planet. My son realized that pretty quickly, and now gave him the nickname Papazon. So now my dad now gets something out of it. He's like, it's Papazon time. It's like a whole thing. Like, he's enjoying it. Meanwhile, he's getting his credit card just, filleted. So there you go. That's my parent corner.
I see. That's great.
Yeah. There you go.
Well, he could have at least picked up a card for you, please, as long as he's shopping, right?
Again, it's only one like. Cards are a one like gift. Need a lot more.
Papazon Prime. I love it. Well, I actually have two quick things, but one quick thing was went camping with a bunch of families, fancy camping. And one of the, I don't want to name drop, but Johnny Knoxville was there. And my wife tells me, I asked where my son was, my 5-year-old, and she's like, oh, Knoxville teaching him how to ride a bike. I said, is that a good idea? Knoxville's teaching him how to ride a bike.
The guy from Jackass?
Yeah. I was like, I don't know, but should Child Protective Services just come right here, right now? Don't say that too loud, but he has 7 of his teeth left, so that's fine. But not much of a story there. But I'll say this. Earlier in the week, we went to SmackDown. A lot of fun. I'm sure we'll talk about it in a minute. But that was on Friday. On Monday Night Raw, I'm sitting my 5-year-old down. We watch, and Rey Mysterio's in the ring, and Brock Lesnar's throwing him around. They keep cutting to Rey Mysterio's son, who's in like the second row. And I said, I said to my son, I'm like, Harrison, we're probably Friday going to sit in a seat like that pretty close. That'll be good, right? And he's like, yeah, he's excited. Brock Lesnar then decides, after he's done throwing Rey Mysterio around like a rag doll, comes out of the ring, reaches into the crowd, grabs Rey Mysterio's son, and beats the living piss out of him for like 10 minutes. And now my son Harrison is beside himself. He's like in tears. He's biting his like knuckles. Like, I was like, don't worry, we'll sit further back. It's going to be fine. So I think I've scarred him for life. That's my story. But then we went and we had a good time, right?
Yeah, part of mine was going to be how we sat next to each other
and it was your son. He was losing his wrestling virginity or his
Yeah.
live wrestling show virginity.
Mhm.
And I was with my son, who is now 6 years older than him, who's a veteran of the process at this point. And it was really fun reliving that first show through your son, because for 25 minutes, they're just catatonic.
Yeah, right.
They basically look like the cart has to come out and carry it and take them off the field. Just deer in the headlights, can't believe it, can't process anything, just glazed over. And then about at the half-hour mark, they start to liven up, and then about an hour and a half in, really start to get into it. But it was funny to hit those checkpoints again.
Yeah, and it's like it's everything you do at home and everything you can't do in school, you get in trouble for, and they're allowing it right in front of our eyes. Guys are beating the hell out of each other in costumes, and daddy and mommy and daddy's friend and his son are enjoying it too. So they're like, all right, this is interesting. Like, I forgot about that dynamic of it. But
so the parent corner I really want to tell was going to get sushi with my son last night after he watched season 3 of Big Mouth, but I'm not going to tell that because I don't
do it.
I don't want Carmax to get upset, but it's probably the best one. Unfortunately,
trust me, it's the best one. You ran it by me over text. And
yeah. Unfortunately, my son is now working so hot we can't even put the stories in the podcast anymore. So I should say he watched season 3 of Big Mouth. It came out on Friday night. He got up at 4:30 in the morning the next morning to keep watching it, and finished it pretty early on Saturday. Unclear if he can read, but he finished Big Mouth.
This is
3.
after SmackDown?
Yeah, this is after. These came home that night. He watched 2 that night and then got up early and banged out the rest. He just loves that show so much. So my daughter, every Friday, she has a date with her boyfriend, who she's had for almost 2 months now. I've talked about him before. He's a really nice kid. So Friday night, I'm watching the Dodger game. My wife's away, and it's probably 7th, 8th inning, and they're upstairs watching a movie, and then they come down to watch the game, but I could tell she's like pissed off about it. And he sits down, it's like, what's the score? And he just like really wanted to watch he's a huge Dodger fan, really wanted to watch the Dodger game, also like wanted to hang out and watch a game. And my daughter is doing the whole, not really excited about this. She was having much more fun, in their room watching a movie that she was choosing. And finally she like leaves and goes to play the piano and ditches him for like 20 minutes. Then comes back and she's still got a little bit of an attitude, then goes upstairs for a little bit. And we kind of had a moment where I was like, yeah, man, women are difficult. Did this whole thing. I'm like, he's not my friend, even though it's my daughter. And we just kind of had a moment. We had like a bonding moment for like a half hour watching the Dodger game, kind of complaining about his girlfriend, who happened to be my daughter. So then the next day we're driving to a soccer game, and I'm like, hey, you got to take one for the team every once in a while. I hate to give you advice. I've had a lot of failed relationships over the years, but he's a good kid. He's doing just about everything you want to do. You want to watch the Dodger game for a half hour. You got to take one for the team. So now she's frantic. She's sending him messages. The game's about like 20 minutes away from warm-ups, and she's worried like she made him upset and she didn't realize, and they're sorting this out. And I'm like, so finally I'm like, oh man, I shouldn't have told you. And she's like, you're right, you shouldn't have. So now she's mad at me, and the soccer game's going. So I don't know how I got in this, Sal. I don't know. I don't know how this plays out.
You love it. You had to be. I'm going to tell everybody something. Like, so we had at the end of SmackDown. I was like, all right, so let's go backstage. We could maybe there's an area where you wait for your car, and it's with the wrestlers if you're on the VIP list.
Yeah,
So I was like, let's do that. That's always fun. You're waiting. You're side by side with Triple H. He's waiting for his his car to pick him up, and you're waiting for your Mazda 360. But and you're like, nah, I got to go home. I don't know who's supervising my daughter and her boyfriend. I was like, wow, you wanted to get out of there.
Yeah, because it was my mom who's, downstairs watching Bill Maher and having like her 7th glass of Chardonnay. God knows what's going on. So I was like, there's no way my mom is like, going up every 20 minutes to make sure the door's open, all that stuff. God, Parent Corner is really getting dark.
It really is.
Really tough. Kyle's bummed out.
Yeah.
We need
Kyle's
these kids to go
uncomfortable.
off to college already.
Jesus.
Parent corner.
This is why Kyle doesn't come over anymore.
I think you're like me in that, like, professional wrestling, we loved it. Now we've come back around to love it again. But when we were growing up, we loved it when it was Piper, when it was Hogan, when it was Snuka, a little before maybe Bob Backlund, then Ricky Steamboat a little bit. And then everybody started to love it. Speaking of groundswell. And I backed off a little. That bummed me out a little bit, right? Were you the same way?
Yeah.
Like a band when they record in a garage and you're hearing them, and then they're on top 40 radio, and you're like, that's enough.
Yeah.
So that's what happened with wrestling. Well, so that's kind of what it's happened with my son, my middle son. My older son loved wrestling, went at it hard for a few years. Then my middle son, Jack, loved it, went at it hard, still tailing off a little bit, but liking it. And then the youngest son really is into it now. Just over the last few months, he got an Undertaker costume for Halloween. It doesn't fit at all. We're like constantly cutting things down to the right size, the wig and the shoes and the hat and everything else. And now the middle son, who does not like my younger son at all, is now done with wrestling. He's like, screw it. I don't want to even compete. And wrestling's dumb because my little brother likes it. Okay. The problem is we have, and I think you have, you might be the only one who has more of these wrestling figures.
Yeah.
I think we have like 200. You might have like 1,200. I don't know. But, and there's no shortage of rings. There's ladders. There's all kinds of things. And so you could have matches. I used to use Star Wars figures when I was a kid, but they now have a wrestler for everyone. Now we have like 200 of these. My little one's playing with them. The middle one's like, no, those are mine. These are off limits. And so the little one comes crying into my bed. I'm trying to watch the London game. It's 6:30 in the morning, for God's sakes. Give me some room. And he comes crying, says his older brother says they're off limits. And I was like, no, that's ridiculous. Those aren't even his. Those are his brothers. They're not even his. And my wife is like, you know what? Just buy new ones. It's like, I'm not going to buy new ones. There's 200 of these.
Right.
How much they cost? They're between $15 and $50, right? I'm not doing it. I'm getting pressured into buying the new ones. I'm not buying them. I'm not looking for anyone to send them to me. I just need some advice. I'm crazy not to buy new ones, right? You don't need 500 of these things laying around.
First of all, I was at a wrestling event with your son 9 days ago, the middle one, and he brought a giant championship belt and was holding it over his head and screaming for 2 hours. So now he's out of wrestling?
Well, he's out of it because he doesn't want to make the little one look cool. So if the little one likes something, he wants it to be deemed babyish, right? So he's got to kind of walk away from it. I know he's at a weird spot here. He really is.
So he sounds a little hypocritical.
Sure.
Second, I thought the best thing about having a third son was you just got to take all the shit you bought for the other two and just give it to the third kid.
That
it's
would
like
seem
a
like
discount
it should be a perk for me.
Yeah, it's almost like half the cost of a real son because they just have the old shit from the other sons.
Yes. All right. So now I need your wife to call my wife or text her and say, you're acting foolish here. Keep the wrestlers. Don't buy any more. That's all.
It sounds like this is a nice place for Jack, your middle son, to prove and show that he can be a bigger man.
Really? He doesn't have that in him.
You can't Jedi mind trick and be like, Jack, you could be the bigger man here. Give him your figures.
No, he's not.
It's a big win for you.
Have that conversation. No.
What if
he wants to quit himself and not let anyone have his figures?
What if you bought the figures from Jack and then replaced that asset with another asset? Then you're not buying more figures.
Well, that would have been a nice plan if I didn't have the Cowboys on a teaser and then the Chargers on the teaser and whoever else on the teaser.
How are we so bad at gambling every year?
Georgia yesterday, Saturday. Yeah.
My parent corner, my son was on my podcast the other day because Nick Kroll was here.
I loved it.
And so it was the first time I'd really ever seen him nervous, which was just shocking.
Mm-hmm.
The good news is, I think we filmed that on a Wednesday. He recovered in time. It was Yom Kippur. Went to friend's house that night, who has one of our friends, me and my wife's, who also has two daughters, who the younger daughter and Ben are in the same class.
Mm.
And a bunch of her friends were there. They're just a bunch of girls. So Ben was in his glory because he just had all of these 6th grade girls that he could do his thing with. So my wife decides she wants to leave. And Ben is like, I'm staying. So he stays. Somebody else can give him a ride home. So he's staying now. There's two reasons he wants to stay. One is he's got all these 6th grade girls.
Mm-hmm.
The other one is the Dodger game is on, the Clayton Kershaw disaster. Ben decides to troll all the Dodger fans in the living room and is telling people that Kershaw is going to choke, doing this whole thing. And then he did. And he was like, see, I told you he's trash. He's doing like the cocky 11-year-old, barely know anything about sports thing.
Right.
And is actually like pouring gasoline into the fire with these poor Dodger fans who were just, enjoying the game after Yom Kippur. And then all hell is broken loose. I know nothing about this. I went to a party last night that had multiple dads who were at the thing, and all of them separately brought it up to me. How my son, it was like, you should have seen your son trolling everyone at this Yom Kippur thing about the Dodgers. So now I have to talk with him about how that's not cool to troll people as they're going through just one of the most horrible sports experiences of their life.
Yeah, and as a Red Sox fan and a Patriots fan, how are you going to do it? You should pay someone else to do it. You can't do that.
It's a good point. I might have to get like a Rams fan.
Pay Nick Kroll to do it or something.
Talk to him about it. But yeah, he was doing the cackling thing.
Oh no.
It's like, oh my God, Kershaw does this all the time. It was just pouring gasoline. It sounded horrible. I was mortified. So anyway, that's the Parent Corner for this week. Let's take a break from this very special Parent Corner episode to remind you that CarMax is simply the better way to buy a great used car. The folks at CarMax make your shopping, test driving, and car buying experience easy, the way it should be. In fact, they make it so easy that my nephew Kyle, he did it. He started his search at CarMax.com. He filtered through over 50,000 CarMax vehicles nationwide. Then the search filters helped him narrow down to a CarMax certified Ford Mustang within his budget. Did not tell him what to name the car. He came up with that himself. Maxine. Why Maxine, Kyle?
Because I just want to give a little nod to CarMax.
Okay. Oh, that's a good point. I didn't even think of that. Maxine. God, I'm dumb. CarMax walked Kyle through all the tricky stuff, the pros and cons, financing options, credit applications, down payments, everything else. Of course, no haggling, no pressure to buy ever. From the cup holders to vents, CarMax knows that the little things become a big deal when you're looking for a car. So you always get a 7-day money-back guarantee to make sure all those little things are right for you. You just kept the car.
It's so right. You notice I can't stop parking it on the street.
Yeah, because you like showing it off.
I want people to know.
Yeah, he doesn't park in our garage. He parks on the street. Full disclosure, he kept the Mustang. He also got Max Care for extra coverage. He loved that option as well. He loves Maxine. Stop by your local CarMax for details and discover how easy buying a car at CarMax can really be. Back to Parent Corner 2019.
All right, so I have 3 boys. I have a 15, 14, 11, right? 14 or oldest is 14, 11, and 5. And the 11-year-old quirky kid, he's going to run for spirit commissioner, which is crazy because he wants nothing to do with school at all. Not a damn thing. And all of a sudden he comes home and he says, I want to be spirit commissioner, which involves like writing a speech, making posters, campaigning, and all this other stuff. And he's going against another 5th grader and this kid, Miles. So I have a lot of suggestions for posters, which really are all about a smear campaign against Miles. And the kids are laughing, but my wife is furious at all the suggestions I'm making. But everybody's laughing, except for my youngest son, because my youngest son, they partner kindergartners with 5th graders. Like, you know how you have like a 5th grade buddy if you're in kindergarten?
Yeah.
So like the oldest kids in the school, like taught you. Well, it should have been my son and my other son, kindergarten, 5th grade, but they don't get along. So my 5th grade son passed. He's like, no, let someone else take Harrison. I don't want to take him. So guess who picks him up? Miles picks up Harrison, and Harrison loves Miles and is rooting for Miles against my son in the race against Spirit Commission, and which got so bad that my 5th grader and Harrison are like nose to nose yelling at each other about it. It was like the Civil War when brothers fought each other.
Yeah.
And I'm like both laughing and trying to pull them apart. And it's just going to be bad. It's just going to be bad next few weeks.
It's amazing. The feud between the two brothers, we really haven't seen anything like this since Michael and Fredo. It feels like it's got
It's gonna
that
get
level of
worse.
intensity, right?
Yeah.
Like
I'm not taking either of them to a toll booth anytime soon.
like when you or Melissa at your funeral, one of them is going to be like, I'm not going until I'm sure I'm positive he's out. The other one's out. I don't want my brother there.
There is a lot of succession elements to it.
My parent corner, I've talked about this before, but my daughter and her boyfriend, they have a date usually Friday night. This time it was Saturday night. And they hang out, they watch movies, and it's really adorable. They really like each other. But but this time around, his mom came to come pick him up at like 11:15 or something like that. And the mom shows up, we're talking to her, like, hey, Zoe, come on down. And nothing. 2 minutes pass. Hey, come on, guys, let's go. Nothing. Hey, what are you guys doing up there? Hear some movement. Don't worry, this story's not going to get gross.
Okay.
They come down. They're both like look like they've been asleep for like an hour. They fell asleep watching a movie, and they explained it as he had a baseball game early. He was tired. She had played a soccer game. She was tired. It was like, wow, you guys literally are a married couple now. You're falling asleep when you're watching TV at 10 o'clock at night. You've skipped all the stages of a relationship. You've already gotten to the end, the worst part. The 10 o'clock fall asleep. Oh, yeah. Oh, all right. Oh, what happened? Oh, I don't know. I was surprised.
Yeah, I thought you said it wasn't going to get gross. They're a married couple. No one wants to hear that.
I was like, this is really incredible. It's been 10 weeks, but it's really been 15 years. So yeah, that's good.
Right.
So they're getting divorced soon, I think is how this is going to play out.
I was gone all week. I was in Brooklyn. My wife came with me for the first time. She came like Wednesday through Saturday or Tuesday through Saturday. You know, she's never been there. Like it's a fun experience. She knows everyone on the show. She also doesn't trust me on the road, but that's another story. But she got her father and his wife, her stepmother, to fly out and to watch our kids. And they're like quiet people. They're from the Midwest. They settled in Florida. They take a Zumba class. They go on walks, and that's it. They really don't do a lot, but they're responsible, and they're going to watch our kids. And I don't think they knew what they got into.
Oh, no.
Yeah, because, you know, I mean, you have a 14-year-old who not great about letting anyone know what she's doing, or in my case, what my son is doing. My wife has a tracker on her phone, so it's not as bad. She could figure it out, but they don't see him. They get nervous. There's that thing. The other one won't. The middle child won't eat. He won't eat anything except he'll ravage the pantry, and they go crazy for that. And he invites the neighbor kid over to also go through the pantry, and so they were flipping out about that. They're like, it's just off. Everything's off center. And then the little one, this little bastard, keeps asking my father-in-law why he's not still married to his grandma Pete. Yeah, all throughout the weekend. And apparently didn't end all throughout the week. And so that's really it. There's not, that's not it. We called to check in. They're in the car. They're nice. They're shuttling the kids to practices, soccer practices, and football practices. And they're all in the car. Stepmother, father-in-law, and the three kids. And I'm like, hey, guys, how's it going? And the middle kid goes, you have to come home right now. You have to come home. Enough of this. With grandma, and they're right there. He's like, you need to come home right now. We can't have them. I was like, what are you doing? So that's it. So if anyone wants to watch Three Monsters next year, if we go to Brooklyn, please submit a resume. It's not going to take much. You just really have to know how to drive.
It sounds like there should be a parent version of CarMax where it's people who can watch your kids for a week. Like,
oh yeah,
that's Parent good. Max. That could work.
What'd you call it?
I don't know. Get parents for a week max. Guest parent
like
max.
That.
The fact that you did this to your wife's parents was really kind of cruel.
Yeah, it is.
To welcome somebody else into your insane world with that, you know, the two parents with the kids together all the time. You don't realize how weird some of the stuff is until somebody else is in charge for a couple days.
and they realize your middle son and younger son are feuding, like for real.
Yeah,
stuff like
sure.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, that was bad all week too. They did not handle that. Yeah, I don't know.
I mentioned
and then
that
my little playing off last week, my son lost that election.
Oh,
So he was bummed out, and the little one was happy, and so they had to deal with that too.
Oh my God. Yeah. Well, playing off that, welcoming people into your world. So we had a whole bunch of people here today because we were doing this State Farm shoot for post game after the Pats and right after the Packers Chiefs. So we had probably like 10 to 12 Ringer people here setting up in the back because we were filming stuff. And I was like, I really hope my son doesn't look at this as an opportunity just to basically have an audience. And
he didn't, right?
No, of course he did. And he got this new football that half of it is square. So you throw it like a spiral, and then it bounces off the wall and bounces back to you. I would have played with this for, I don't know, 1,000 hours when I was a kid. How about you?
Yeah, for sure. I would never stop.
So he has that, and it came in the mail today for some reason. So he really wants to play, but in the backyard, we have all these people, and there's cameras, and there's barbecue, and all this stuff. Didn't stop him. He's still whipping the ball off things and going around and just doing his thing.
Smashing the propane lamps.
Smashing the propane lamps, all that stuff. It's like, all right, I knew this was going to happen. He's walking through, he's coming in, he's coming out. Around, I would say 6 o'clock. Now he's just in a t-shirt and his underwear. And how would you describe his underwear, Kyle?
I think they're SpongeBob underwear.
SpongeBob underwear, not like tighty whities, like a little longer.
Yeah, small briefs.
We have men, we have women here. It doesn't stop him. So he's walking around, he's playing football, he's on the trampoline, and just Ben, put some pants on. No pants at all. So the good news is he left his phone in the guest house. Which I was able to crack the code, and I went and I looked through all his texts with his girlfriend, which I hadn't done in a while.
That's great.
And so he calls Boo. And it's not just Boo, it's Boo in the address book, but there's a heart and smiley faces and all this stuff. So there was one text about, she was talking about applying to schools, and she was really nervous about getting in, all this stuff. And Ben texts her back, "You are thee, though." Not English. And then I really screwed because I'm not even sure I'll get into any other schools when I leave Willows. 3 hearts. I was like, you might be really screwed because you can't spell and you're turning 12 in a week. So anyway, Kyle and I, we looked through the text, and we're just a lot of heart emojis, and we're really laughing. So innocent love, it's the best.
Let me ask you, does Ben know the stories you tell, the parent corner stories?
It's unclear.
Yeah. Because I worry about this. Like, is Carmack's going to pay for a coffin, like when our kids rebel and murder us?
I just feel like he'll get his revenge later. I mean, you could say, I really screwed.
Yeah,
not
sure.
Not just Ben. I also really screwed.
Yeah, 4 hearts. Why not?
4 hearts. Got to talk to Boo later. I'm just glad they're back together.
Yeah,
they really are an adorable couple.
Ben and Boo.
Yeah, Ben and Boo. I hope they make it.
So this week for Thursday Night Football, the Halloween fell on Thursday, which Thursday Night Football. I went Wednesday at the Grove dressed as Michael Strahan's teeth. And so we had this big prop, a big gap in the front teeth, and I ran around and I terrified people at the Grove. And as Michael Strahan's teeth, and saying stupid things like, "I have 10 jobs," and back to you, Aaron Andrews. I don't know. I was just yelling stupid things, and people didn't know what the hell was going on. And then we throw it back to Michael Strahan, and he's going to get mad. It's something my cousin Jimmy taught me. Just get everyone in studio furious at you, and good things happen. So we do this, and at the end of the thing, I have to give a pick. So I take the mask off, and I go to my kids, my 11-year-old and my 5-year-old, and one of them's dressed as a 49er, a prospector, and the other's dressed as an angry bird. And I'm going to say, so I say, final score, 49ers 27, and I pour 27 candy corns into his pumpkin, his plastic pumpkin. And then for the 5-year-old, I was like, and Arizona 3, plop, plop, plop. And then he kicks me. And then he yells, back to you, Michael. So that's the Angry Bird kicks me. And that's that. So now we're all home Thursday and we're going to watch it. I was like, all right, guys, it's coming on. Here we go. It's on TV. We're going to watch in like 30 seconds. They reluctantly put their iPads down. They're on TV. It should be a bigger deal when 3/5 of the family is on TV, right?
You would think.
A primetime thing. Okay. It wasn't at my house. And even my wife was like, all right, if they want to watch it, otherwise they can watch it later. I'm like, no, let's watch it now. It's on now. So let's watch it now. Stop being so jaded. So they put it down. They watch. They know how it's going to end with me giving the 11-year-old 27 and the 5-year-old 3. And at the point where I poured into the 11-year-old's bucket 27, he turns to the kid, the 5-year-old, and says, aha. And now the 5-year-old jumps at his throat. And the 11-year-old's got his fingers in the 5-year-old's eye. I can't even see the end of the bit. Like I couldn't even hear what Strahan said in response to the bit because they're screaming at each other and fighting. And to make things matters worse, my friend Harry is there. He's 300 pounds. He's trying to get in between them. They're falling on him. They're falling all over the couch. So I don't know what the moral of the story is, but I just don't put your kids in bits or don't talk to your kids. I think that's the moral of the story.
The moral of the story is the blood feud in your house between your two sons.
It's unbelievable.
Hey, this is a recurring theme of Parrot Corner.
This is a nice thing. They're on television. How often does this happen to their friends? I don't think a lot. They couldn't even watch for 40 seconds.
I remember Bret Hart and Owen Hart had a whole thing where they turned on each other for like
that's right
6 months.
Yeah. Oh, and then my Brett and Owen were intensely watching the game. It was the most intense they've watched a football game all year to make sure their team won. And of course, 49ers did.
Jesus.
Dopes.
My Parent Corner, it's my son went as Jack Nicholson from The Shining for Halloween.
No, I did not know that. Okay.
He made my wife take him to a store where he could buy like a kind of the overcoat that looked like Jack Nicholson's overcoat.
Mm-hmm.
He did his hair like Jack Nicholson. He bought an axe, which I mentioned on a previous Parent Corner that he had bought on Amazon, an axe with a foam handle, which he was running around plunging into people's chests, and they were legitimately terrified.
Did you watch this movie with him? Was it this year?
Oh, we've watched it. He was watching it when he was like 5. I'm not not a great father.
No.
Yeah, so he went as Jack Nicholson for Halloween. He had the limp, the whole thing, and that leads into his birthday, which is next day. So we had 13 kids over. Oh, I left out of the part of Halloween. We ran out of Halloween candy because we had so many people in my neighborhood.
Really?
That it was, I think, the first year and my wife always buys like an insane amount of candy, and we actually ran out. We bought my son's Halloween candy from him. he had him and his friend Ben Williams. They had this big garbage because they had been going around for 5 hours, and we negotiated and we actually bought all their candy, and they were all fired up about it. So
what's the going rate, if I may ask?
I think it was $80.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they split that. So that was great.
That is the worst.
So then the next, I mean, it was really a good deal for both sides. It would have cost, if we'd gone to CVS, that would have been a huge pain in the ass.
I know, but did you then charge him for his costume that you made your wife go out and get?
I should have. I didn't think of that. I wish you had been here. So then Friday is his birthday because he was born on November 1st, day after Halloween. And we had 13 kids here. And my wife, did you know you could rent like these big kind of blow up big screens that are attached to an Apple? It's basically like your own drive-in theater.
Oh, right. Yes, I have seen those. Yeah.
So sets up the backyard, and Good Boys is out on Amazon, my son's favorite movie of all time. He's seen it like 11 times, and he got all of his other friends. They're all watching. It's completely inappropriate. I can't defend it. So she sets it up. For some reason, can't control the volume. So it's blaring. When I say blaring, like it's blaring. You could hear it on the, like, parents who are parking on our street way far in the front could hear it. And this is a movie where it starts out where they're talking about like, hey, hand job, jerk off. And it's just blaring through our neighborhood for 2 solid hours as my wife is like, I can't figure this out. Damn it. And doing her whole thing with the volume. And we just blasted Good Boys through our entire neighborhood.
Oh, that's great.
And it wasn't great.
At one point, Ben is like, you know what? I can turn the volume lower, but it's going to cost you $750.
He probably did.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know what? I don't have anything great for this week, but I did post a video. This happened last Sunday, but I didn't even know the video existed. My mother shot it of my son running all the way down the field and slide tackling and taking a kid out. And it was as red as a red card can go. I mean, he ran the length of the field and took him out right before he shot on goal. And it has like 500,000. I called him a dick on Twitter. Maybe I shouldn't have done that, but it has like 500,000 views on Twitter. And I was getting a lot of feedback, mostly negative. But from you gave me some you were one of the few that gave me positive. Like, that's good. Those are good instincts. That's a terrible kid, but those are good instincts, right?
No, I like that he has a nasty side, because I think with boys soccer, you have to have that side or you're not going to make it. So
with boys, said not as necessary in girls, but boys.
And because the boys are nasty. We watch some when my daughter has the games, and there'll be a boys game on a field next door, and we watch them. And those kids are like trying to kill each other.
Really?
Yeah, it's
interesting. And because this is week 8 or 9. Not only haven't they won since week 1, they haven't scored a goal as a team since week 1. So it's all about, this is what it is. It's all about, these are 5-year-olds running after and just taking guys out because they know they can't score. A lot of fun.
Well, I have a good parent corner that will take the one you had and push it up a level, because it involves my kid playing sports. My son, Ben, football playoffs. First game is against a team that they had beaten the week before by like 3 touchdowns. My son is in 6th grade, but he's playing the 7th grade team.
Nice.
With 4 of his friends and then some 7th graders. And they weren't going to win the whole league, but they had a chance to make the finals potentially. They're up 22-0 in the first half. And it seems like and I'm not there, thank God, because I honestly would have lost my mind and I don't know what would happen. On the sidelines, it's decided that they're going to ease up a little bit so it's not a blowout, because this is a classic thing that happens out here in LA. It's a little softer out here, let's be honest. Like, it's a tiny bit softer. Don't want to run up the score. My whole feeling is it's a playoff game. You can't fuck around. 3 scores is not a big enough lead when you're talking about 12-year-olds. My son 5 days earlier was dressed like Jack Nicholson from The Shining, limping around with a fake axe. I mean, it's like these are not brain surgeons. So we ease up, and the other team starts coming back. And because we had a younger team, it just kind of falls apart. So all of a sudden, it is. I think we're up 24-22, and we have the ball, and the other sideline's going crazy, and we have a chance to put the game away. We got screwed by a couple calls. And at some point, there's some call or some flag guarding penalty or something. And one of the kids on our team goes, "That's fucking bullshit."
Mm-hmm.
You take one guess who got the 10-yard penalty for that.
Was it your son, Ben?
Well, it's even worse because they thought it was somebody else on the team, and they gave him the penalty. And the kid that they gave the penalty to is somebody who would never in a million years swear, unlike my degenerate son, who was so mad that they were losing this game that he just lost it and he ended up swearing. And then 10-yard penalty, we go backwards. It ends up missing the drive. So now he's like...
10's not bad. Not 15, 10?
Which one?
10-yard penalty?
10-yard swearing penalty, I guess, in 7th grade football.
Yeah.
So now he's so upset, he feels like he cost the game.
Yeah.
But we're still winning, and he's upset on the sidelines, the whole thing. Comes down, they get a play, and the clock's supposed to run and the game's supposed to end. For some reason, they stop the clock, giving them a chance for like a Hail Mary throw, which of course they complete, and our team loses. And we get knocked out of the playoffs in round 1 after having a 24-point lead.
Yeah.
Or 22-point lead, whatever it was.
That's not good.
And then my son is convinced that because he swore during the game and they didn't put the game away in the last drive, that it was his fault.
Well, listen, and then you probably said, no, it's not your fault. Let him take one of these every now and then. Let him, yeah, Ben, yeah, you shouldn't have said anything.
We did say, this is what happens. We tell you not to swear, and then you actually swear and you get a 10-yard penalty in a playoff game.
Right.
So I think there's some lessons.
He told you to fuck off. Mark, we discussed pushing our favorite teams on our kids, and he, like me, is not from the city of the team that he roots for. You were never born in Cleveland. You were like a kid, and you like Brian Sipe and everything, and I was a Cowboys fan. I liked Danny White, and we have forced our children to watch these teams, and some that makes sense to a lot of people. Maybe it's too harsh, but where does it end? So I played football in high school, and I wrestled in high school, and I wanted my kid to play football. It's a great team sport. I love the smell of the grass, everything about it. It's awesome. If we can get it past his mother to agree, let's do it. So he played football. He had a great time. I also wrestled, and I never told him I thought he should wrestle, but he convinced the kid on the football team to go out for the wrestling team. And now he's finding out it's hell. And it really is. Did you wrestle? It really is. It's tough. It's the toughest practice. You have to be in shape. You're wrestling around with sick people all year long,
I just remember playing basketball in high school and college, and the wrestlers running the stairs.
That's it.
With like sweatshirts and the heaviest possible clothes, and they just looked like they were in the seventh circle of hell.
And you're sucking weight, and it's 3.5 months long, and it's
nothing seems fun about it at all.
Yeah, I actually think it stunted my growth trying to lose weight. I'll blame losing like 15 pounds for like 4 weeks in a year on that. But and now he's doing it, and I feel like to be like me, and I feel bad because I never had this talk with him. And he's like, boy, I'm getting my ass kicked. And I was like, yeah, that's what's going to happen the whole first year. You don't have any skills. You don't know any moves. You're going to get beat up. And he's like, well, I think I'm just going to do this for 1 year. And now I feel awful. I'm like,
right.
You're never going to get a chance to get good if you only do it for 1 year. But I would hate for you to do it for more than 1 year because it's the toughest workout. You get discipline that like the Army could teach you and stuff, and you can handle yourself in a fight for the most part if it ends up on the ground. But you also end up with emphysema and other terrible diseases when some poor school doesn't wipe their mats down, and you have like big red marks on your neck for all of February. So I don't know what to do. I don't know how honest we need to be with our kids for like, do you have to have a checklist of, all right, here's all the things I've done. Here's all the things I've known for. Here's what I want you to avoid. Like, I wonder if we're at that stage, if that's a good way to go about it, but I feel bad that I've now done this to this kid. That's all.
Does he like it though?
I don't think he likes it, but it's also part of the curriculum. So you're either taking football or you're taking wrestling. You're either doing football workout in the off season where you get credit, or you get wrestling credit. You have to do some kind of sport.
Yeah,
that's what it is. So now you'll get credit for that. And I think he feels like he's going to disappoint.
See, to me, wrestling and gymnastics are very similar in this respect. If you talk to people who are grown adults who did it when they were in high school or college, and you'd be like, would you do it again if you had to? They'd be like, oh God, no.
Yeah.
Oh, I would never do it.
Yeah.
And I think that's important for kids to know.
It's so good on so many levels, but I just feel bad. I don't know.
As I said earlier, I watched the Myles Garrett helmet swinging thing live, waiting for the game 10 to flip over to basketball, and wanted to see if he wanted to throw the fifth pick. And my son just happened to come down. My son has the best timing of all time. Comes down with a minute left in the game, and he's watching it. And the fight happens, and they show Garrett swinging the helmet, and Joe Buck is reacting like this is, like a boat is sinking in the Hudson River or something. He's the gravest tones. And Troy Aikman's just appalled, and it's just this appalling moment. And my son is laughing, and he thinks this is like, he's like, who's this guy who did this? I love this guy, Myles Garrett. He immediately thinks it's like professional wrestling.
Right.
So then he's asking, how can I get a Myles Garrett jersey? Would it be weird if I wore it to school? My two favorite players are Myles Garrett and Vontez Burfict, which is actually true. He has watched Vontez Burfict on YouTube. And now wants to go as Myles Garrett for the next Halloween. He wants to wear a Browns jersey and carry around a Steelers helmet and just go around our neighborhood as Myles Garrett. He loved this. He thought it was hilarious.
You should go on a tour of talk shows. This would be a a very original take.
Yeah, he really would. Just coming in, bringing in his
That's
helmet.
great. Well, maybe
So, yeah,
he
he
has
loved it.
350 days to maybe forget it before the next Halloween.
So Miles Garrett, you have one fan out there.
All right. Well, Thanksgiving coming up, and I have a 5-year-old, and at school around Thanksgiving they do it up. They'll make like paper plates with fall leaves on them, or paper plates you could turn into like a pumpkin pie or something, and then they do like a controversial like feather thing to commemorate the first Thanksgiving. That's a no now to Pilgrims and Native Americans. So some schools do it, some don't. And he also made an apron with his picture on it and his name underneath. And he gets this thing and he takes it home, and his name is Harrison, but it's written out. And we don't know if this is a helper, a kindergarten helper, or a teacher, but it's Harriso. The N is gone. The N didn't make it. Didn't make the play. It was too small, too narrow to fit the N. So it says Harriso. And then me and the wife and his two brothers just start laughing and calling him Harriso. And he attacks us all. He goes crazy. He's like, the guy who hasn't been tagged in for 15 minutes and like finally was like stomping his foot and finally gets tagged in. He comes at all of us like a house of fire, really, like throwing haymakers because we're calling him Harriso, to the point where my wife is just like, cut it out. Stop it right now. And I was like, I cannot stop it. I want to call this kid Harriso for the next at least 6 years. She's like, no, you need to grow up here. And so I grew up for the rest of the evening, but the remainder of the week, I snuck a Harriso in there at least once a night. And she's like, he's going to go to therapy. I mean, he just attacks us. I love it. But this is abuse, right? It's no good.
He reminds me so much of my son, because my son would do the same thing, the tag in without being tagged,
right.
Throwing just sweeping haymakers. And those 5-year-old haymaker punches really hurt. Like they land either inside groin, balls,
right.
hip, all things that don't normally get punched.
Yeah.
And they don't feel good. Does not feel great.
Right. I'm like, hey, one more of these, and I'm maybe not going to let you watch 11 hours of Raw, NXT, SmackDown, and whatever pay-per-view was tonight, Survivor Series. Take it easy.
I was going to do yesterday, Ben and I played like 5 hours of, so Madden 2020, this is not a plug. Madden 2020 is this game called Knockout that Ben loves. It's Superstar Knockout.
Mm-hmm.
And we played for like 5 straight hours.
What?
It's really fun. So they're quick games. They're like 10-minute games.
Mm-hmm.
Ben's doing defense. I'm doing offense. And he's shutting people down. And then I'm on offense. And then I'll throw a pick to lose the thing. And he's just assaulting me and berating me with swears. And at one point, Zoe comes in and is like, Ben, you can't talk to Dad like that. I'm like, he's fine. He's fine. Let the boy vent.
Yeah, get the fuck out of here,
He's
Zoe.
just losing his mind. And Ben's like, we should live stream this. And I'm like, no, we absolutely shouldn't live stream this. That would be the worst idea ever. You're swearing at me. He just
told the
hates
story
losing.
to like a million people, so it's kind of the same thing.
He hates losing, which he hates losing, which makes it such a shame that he doesn't have like a favorite like football team.
Right.
Because, like the Cowboy situation today with the tripping, you take like the intensity and psychotic nature of how he handles these losses. And if it had been like the tripping call, like he would have punched Donald Trump Jr.
Right.
So I have that experience. And then Zoe's boyfriend was over. He's a huge Broncos fan. He watched football with us. And he's got a fantasy team, nice mellow kid. He's watching the Broncos. We have them on one of the TVs for a while. They're just getting demolished. He's okay with it. He's like, I thought we could have lose. I'm just thinking like, man, it's just funny how this stuff works out. Like this was the son I thought I would have had. And instead I have the son who's assaulting me as we share this Madden stupid super knockout game. And he's calling me a dick and a jerk. I can't believe you blew it. He's throwing the controller. Don't
worry,
you just
the
never
son-in-law
know.
will be calling you a dick in no time. You just wait it out. It's fine.
I want him to get to know Harrison so he can call him Harriso, and then they could just fight each other, and that'll be it. They'll fight to
like
the
that.
death.
So we're on. It's Thanksgiving. I got my parents are there. They're not speaking to each other. There's a whole crazy dynamics. My Thanksgiving, and my parents are there. Our friend Don Barris is there. He warms up Jimmy Kimmel Live. His girlfriend, my friend Ken, Harry's Ken's butler. We have a lot of misfits. We have a lot of family, and then we have my immediate family there. So the kids are running around. Archie, my oldest, is watching football with us. My youngest is watching football with us. My middle kid, Jack, it's going to be 12 years old in February. He doesn't really want anything to do with us. So he goes up on his iPad and gives us exactly as much time as we have for dinner. That's how much we're going to see him. So because he knows he has to be at the table. And when we go around the table, say what we're thankful for, he barely gets out of, I'm thankful for my parents and my family and my friends. So that hurts him to even say that. And then he eats and he's like, can I go up? Can I go play on my iPad again? We're like, yeah, fine, whatever. Just do. We don't want you throwing a fit. That's fine. Go play on your iPad. So we eat dessert. And then with karaokeing, my wife has friends over and some more friends come by and we're doing karaoke till like 11:30 at night. And we haven't seen Jack in hours. And Jack comes down, grabs the mic, puts in a song, AC/DC's TNT. Knocks it out of the park. I didn't even know he knew this song. Like he's not even using. He's playing to the crowd. He's not even using the words on the screen. He's doing TNT. And then if that wasn't enough, he follows it up with what's the NWA song there? California Love.
What?
California Love and TNT. And he's going crazy and he's talking like he really like feels the lyrics.
Yeah.
He's talking about we in that sunshine state with a bomb ass hempy and diamond shining, looking like I robbed Liberace, and he knows it. In the good old city of good old Watts. Like he's really looking at us and feeling the music. And then he's done. And then he drops the mic like Chappelle and walks off. And that's it. We didn't see him the rest of the night. So there you go.
Tell America how old Jack is.
He's 12 in February.
That's fantastic. So my son, who turned 12 earlier this month, he's just been a dick lately. He's just a dick. Kyle, how much of a dick is he?
It's so bad. It's so bad. I hate him.
He's just a dick. And but can get away with it with my wife because, as you know, the mother-son bond is just unbreakable.
Right.
And there could be 92 straight offenses and then 3 minutes of hugging or just affection for the mom and all is forgotten. If our judicial system worked like motherhood with sons, everyone would just get out of prison immediately.
Right.
So we've come, I think Zoe came up with this term, but when Ben is like just being a dick, we call it benstruating. that he's menstruating. So there's been a lot of menstruating lately. And on Thursday night, he was just such a dick. And just the whole day, and he was just a huge pain in the ass. And then at the end of the night, my wife was mad at me. And she's like, I'm like, what are you mad at me? What did I do? She's like, he acts like a dick. And then, you don't step in, and then I have to be the bad guy. And now I'm getting blamed. So I go talk to Ben. And I'm like, look, you got to stop being a dick to your mom. Like, this is your mom. Be nice. I know we're in the family, we're together all the time, all that, but this is your mom. You have to listen to her. You can't like snap at her. And
yeah, she's the one that's always on your side.
Yeah. And you're a nice kid. Like you don't get to just be a dick and then think like it's funny. So I talk to him. I go downstairs, come back up, and he's just lying on the bed with her cuddling, and she's totally forgotten the whole thing. And it's, I've just, the whole son thing, it's like 30 seconds of him just pouring it on, and that's it. She's back in the palm of his hand. I don't understand it.
Well, he understands it. He's figured it out, right? So
he's figured it out. I'll tell you who he hasn't figured out with, Kyle.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Kyle's going to throw him through a sofa at some point.
Really?
Too. Yeah,
So anyway, I don't know what the rules are for assaulting your kids, but I'm going to Google them after we finish the podcast.
All right, good. Yeah, Google it. It's good. I think you're going to like what you find. All right, this is not going to make me look too good, but none of them do, so it doesn't really matter. So my son is wrestling. He's a 9th grader,
every week or so, he has like a novice tournament somewhere different. This week it was in Santa Monica. Now, here's the thing. There's no buses for the freshman and sophomore. So they have to get to wherever it is on their own. So luckily, my wife has to drop him off at the school. He's carpooling at 6:15 in the morning. And he gets to Santa Monica. He weighs in. He's been wrestling for like 3 weeks. He doesn't have many skills other than what I've taught him and through a few practices. And he's heavy. He's like 6'1". He's 153, 155 pounds. And so he's wrestling all sophomores pretty much. So it's been a rough road. And he gets there. And the way they do weight classes out here, you don't get like, when I grew up, it was 132, 138, 145. And I think it's like that here too once you get to varsity. But here, when you get to the tournament, they take all the kids in a pool and they bracket them off like every 15 pounds. So he was in the 150 to 166 weight class. He's 153 because he overate on Thanksgiving. So now he's wrestling older kids, bigger kids, more skilled kids, 13 pounds. So I was like, all right, call me when they call the 120 pounders and I drive over to Santa Monica. So I said, text me. So he texts me. I get there and he's about to wrestle and he gets flattened in the second period. Like the kid obviously had more. It was like very low center of gravity. He was closer to 170 than 150. It wasn't even close. So he comes up and he's like, I think that's it. I was like, oh shit, you're quitting? And he says, no, I think that's it. It was double elimination. I already lost earlier. I was like, what are you talking about? You just called me. What'd you wrestle 10 minutes ago? He's like, yeah, I wrestled like 25 minutes ago. I was like, what is this, a WWE? Don't they give you what is this? Is dumb. I was like, so what happens now? There's no bus. And he's like, well, I should stick around. I was like, yeah, I think you should stick around, watch the rest of your the tournament. So I call my wife. I'm like, hey, no reason to come out here. It looks like Archie's done for the day. And she's like, oh, I wanted pizza in Santa Monica. Joe's Pizza. You've been there, right?
Yeah.
One of the best. It's great. And I was like, all right, I don't care. I'm out here. If you want to make the drive, that's fine. We watch a few more matches. The tournament ends. We go to Joe's Pizza. He's down in the dumps. We order a pie, half pepperoni, half cheese. It's great. And I have one slice. I'm about to have my second slice. And a homeless man, the homelessness is crazy in Santa Monica. He walks in and asks, he's like, can I have a slice of pizza? And there's 3 slices left. It's 1 pepperoni, 2 regular. And my son Archie is like, oh yeah, of course. And hands him the pepperoni. And I'm like, whoa. I want the pepperoni. And now we have a Curb Your Enthusiasm moment where everybody, not only my family, but everyone in the place is looking at me. And I was like, I want the pepperoni. I don't mind parting with a slice, but it just, and now like the homeless guy is looking at me like, come on, dude. Are you fucking kidding me? I don't even know that he likes pepperoni. It was just offered the right? If he didn't say that he preferred pepperoni, why are we offering the pepperoni? But anyway, Archie gives me the look. Everybody gives me the look. I'm like, all right, I'm beat now. And he walks off with the pepperoni. And like, by the way, I'm very charitable. A Giving Tuesday, I donated a ton. And I could have just bought another slice for another $2.50. But was I wrong to want the pepperoni in that instance?
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely, you should ask everyone else at the table if they want the pepperoni.
Thank you.
Would have been my move. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
So it sounds like it was a really fun car ride home after that.
It was really good. It was my father's a lunatic. Taking pepperoni from the homeless guy. I'm worried about homeless people's clogged arteries. I think I should take the pepperoni.
Jesus, you better. So I was on the phone the other night and my wife and my daughter were downstairs in the kitchen and my son came down the stairs and he was crying. So we thought he was crying. He was holding the back of his head. And we're like, oh my God, like he fell off the bunk bed or he fell doing a wrestling move or he jumped off the dresser and onto his wrestling dummy. Like all the usual things you do to get hurt. Now, he hadn't gotten a haircut in a long time. And his hair is like, Kyle, his hair was crazy.
Yeah, it was getting unruly.
It was just, I can't even describe how long it was and out of control it was. And you can get away with this in California. And he decided he was getting a mullet in the back. So he took the scissors like you would use to cut
paper or something.
Mm-hmm.
And he tries to cut the mullet in the what he thought was like a mullety in the back. And then he didn't do it even. And then he went to the right. And then all of a sudden he had basically cut. Now he looks like Mo from the Three Stooges in the back. and he's crying. He's like, I ruined my hair. And we're like, Ben, are you serious? Like, how freaking vain are you right now? I was like, I ruined my hair. Super upset. And is inconsolable. So then Carrie's like, I'll fix it. And they go upstairs and they come back down. And she comes down first and gives us the look, me and Zoe, the look like, whatever you do, don't start laughing. Like that look. So we're like, okay. So he comes down and we're like, oh, it looks good. It looks terrible. It looks, honestly looks like he's a 12-year-old with a toupee. So about 10 minutes in, I just can't take it. And I start making fun of him. He gets super upset. He runs upstairs. So then the next 2 days, he goes to school wearing a ski cap. So his whole back of his head, but the ski cap's pulled down so you can't see that, like, his toupee shelf back of his head. So then Carrie takes him to somebody close to us, like somebody close to our house, to just get
a psychologist.
No. It probably should have been a salon that's like in our neighborhood, just to quickly like fix it up so it looks better. And she's like, no, I'm going to fix them. It's like, all right, great. Well, I think we should just cut it. He's had crew cuts before. He's tight cuts, whatever. Just cut it. Start over. She's like, no, she can fix it. So he comes back, and now it's like a bowl haircut. Mm-hmm. And I'm dying. I'm calling him Dorothy Hamill. Remember Dorothy Hamill's haircut from the 1976 Olympics? And we're calling
doesn't
him,
hurt his feelings because he has no idea.
No, because he's actually a good ball buster. So now he's making fun of himself, and he's just wearing a cap every day. And we're calling him Dorothy, and I'm calling him Cagney and Lacey, and all these different things. He doesn't even get the jokes. I'm making myself laugh, and so he has that going for a couple of days, and then finally Kyle steps in and takes him to Fernando the barber, Kyle's barber.
What did he think about it?
And Ben actually ends up yesterday with a pretty cool haircut.
I say it went well.
It was a 4-day odyssey. But the important lesson here is don't cut your own hair.
Right.
Yeah. For those of you scoring at home.
Tears. But for a girl, for sure. And for a boy, yeah, it's bad.
In his defense, the back of his hair was completely mangled. It actually looked like a hate crime had been committed. Like somebody had jumped on him on the sidewalk and cut the back of his hair. So anyway, there you go.
Well, he's had a mohawk before, right?
That's the thing. He's had a mohawk. He's had crew cuts. He's had all this stuff, but he's just lost his mind. Sal, you're on the clock.
Hold on. We're not both going to be able to hear, but Mike, is there a speakerphone or anything?
Yeah, there's speaker.
All right, go ahead.
What's going on, Simmons? What kind of a slave driver are you? I mean, we're having Christmas Eve right now.
We're almost done.
I mean, how much of this do people need to hear?
We're done. We're about to do parent corner. Do you have a parent corner?
Yeah, I have a parent corner. Here's the parent corner. Sal is nowhere near his children on Christmas Eve. Parent corner is empty. There's no parent in the parent corner. I have a parent corner for you, though.
All right, let's hear it.
Okay, so, the elf on the shelf is a big thing in our house.
Yeah.
Like a big thing. Like it consumes us because if we forget it, then we have to lie the whole next day. So we try to remember it, and most of the time we do. But my daughter, Jane, who's 5 years old, says, where does the elf go at night? And my wife, Molly, says, well, the elf goes to the North Pole to tell Santa what he saw. And Jane says, well, how does he get all the way back here in the morning? And Molly says, well, magic, I guess. And Jane says, am I supposed to believe all of this? She's 5, by the way.
That's fantastic. It's a smart
She hasn't started
kid.
Kindergarten yet.
Well, watch out. She'll be lurking on the stairwell when you're putting the presents on there, trying to see.
Let me tell you what's going on right now.
Yeah.
Sal's children are opening their gifts. And
Is that really true?
Yeah.
Oh, we got to finish then.
Yeah, that's why I came up because there are tears downstairs. It's like, where's Daddy? And everyone's saying, well, Daddy's doing a podcast. And everybody's going, what's a podcast? And they say, well, you'll know when you're a little bit older what a podcast is. But right now, Daddy's doing it. And it might as well be heroin. You might as well say Daddy's doing heroin.
You know it's bad when Corolla's rolling his eyes.
Yeah, Corolla.
Oh, Jesus.
By the way, Corolla's totally sober and bonding with his children right now.
No way.
Meanwhile, you should see where Sal is right now. He might as well be sitting in my bathroom.
I don't believe the Corolla thing for a second.
Well, yeah,
Either
I may
part
have
of that.
exaggerated a little with Corolla.
I don't believe either part of that, nor do I believe the elf on the shelf.
Well, I'm excited. I got a chance to be part of Parent Quarter. That's really why.
That was great. Thanks for coming on, Jimmy.
Okay. Bye.
All right. I'm gonna wind it up. I'll wind it down.
All right.
Wind it up. I'm not gonna top that Parent Corner. So
you want to borrow that for your Parent Corner?
Yeah, that'll be mine. All
right,
Jimmy. Yeah, yours is. That's it.
Say hi to the family. Merry Christmas,
Merry
Happy
Christmas.
Hanukkah, all that stuff, and we will talk to you before round one.
Okay. Good
All
job
right.
by you.
Good job by you.
All right. Well, I might go right to Christmas morning. I got a 14-year-old, very appreciative of everything, and the other two are kind of bratty. 12-year-old and 6-year-old. Tomorrow, 5-year-old turns 6. And they open like 15 presents each. We're very blessed. Everyone we have a lot of cousins and everything. So the gifts are coming in, all say from Santa on it. Santa this, Santa that. Everyone believes, not the 14-year-old, but the 12-year-old still believes. And the now 6-year-old for sure believes. And all we need is a picture of them by the tree after everything. And after they open these gifts, I'm like, all right, let's get a picture. And they're like, but the two younger ones like, Dad, enough already. Just get out of our faces. And I was like, you sons of bitches, you. I can't even count how much money and how much wrapping and everything else goes on. And I was like, hey, we got you all these gifts. The least you could do is take a picture. And the 12-year-old is like, you didn't get them for us. Santa did. I was like, that's it. I'm doing it. I'm blowing the lid right off. You're 12 years old. You can't do it. I have to tell him. First of all, this kid has had access to porn. He's seen porn online. All right. And he believes in that and Santa. I don't think there's an overlap. I don't think you can believe in both. I really don't. I don't think there should be one day where you witness pornography by accident and believe also in Santa. And I was ready and she was holding me back, my wife, like Mick was holding Rocky back when the statue was unveiled and he was going after Clubber Lang outside there. And I was going to blow the whole Santa thing, but I showed some restraint and I held back and we got the picture and it's a shitty picture and shitty kids. There you go.
Happy holidays.
You didn't get us anything. What do you say to that?
It is funny to have the holidays where you have a lot more time with your family.
Yeah.
And then you need a holiday from the holiday.
Right.
Last year, we went back, the Simmons family, my dad's family. My dad has 6 brothers and sisters.
Mm-hmm.
They celebrate Christmas every year because, their parents are dead and they've just very close Irish family.
Mm-hmm.
So last year we actually went back. We surprised my dad and we crashed the Yankee Christmas swap. We brought gifts. And they had some extra gifts. So we were all in it. And it goes around and Ben, a year ago, gets this gift that includes these scratch cards. And he's all excited about the scratch cards. So it goes through the whole order. And then after, as you know, the Yankee swap, then you count down in reverse. And if you don't like your gift, you can swipe it as it goes from like
20. White elephant. You call it Yankee swap?
Or whatever. We call it Yankee swap. It's white elephant. So it's going backwards from 23 to 1. He's holding his scratch cards. Like he's just about to do it. And with like 5 spots to go, my cousin Lauren, it's her turn. And she goes over and swaps gifts with Ben.
Oh, no.
It takes the scratch cards, which ethically was pretty dubious, I felt like. Right. I think like maybe under age 13, you kind of don't take the kid's gift. Would have been my rule. Takes the gift. So now Ben has no scratch cards and Ben's devastated, but pretending he's not. But more importantly, knowing him and knowing that he can fly off the handle, I'm not worried he's going to like have like
you fly off the handle and start being like the offensive coordinator of Friday Night Tykes and just go nuts. He reins it in. Then on the way home, he's like, I'm never going to Yankee Swap again. Sucks. I hate Cousin Lauren. That's bullshit. And he's just furious. So we calm him down. So then he's talked about it for the whole year about how he wants to go back to Yankee Swap and take Lauren's gift.
Right.
So this has been 12,
How old is Cousin Lauren?
She's like in her mid-30s.
Oh, great. She's your cousin.
It's my cousin. Yeah. She's in her like early 30s. So for a year, he's like, it's vacillated between I'm never going back. No, I hate the Simmons family. To I want to go back. I'm going to take Lauren's gift.
Right.
Because he's a maniac. So then
this is why he's ordering knives on Amazon. Yeah.
So he tried to bring those on the plane. So we didn't know we were going to go back. And then last minute, we decided we'd go back. So we go back. But the catch is Cousin Lauren, she's not at Yankee Swap. So now Ben can't get revenge.
Right.
Yankee Swap happens. Lauren's brother ends up getting scratch cards. Ben, on the way back, takes the scratch cards from Lauren's brother and gets the revenge and is acting like this is the 86 Red Sox going back into Shea and taking the World Series. Gets the scratch cards back and is now like riding high ever since because he is a lunatic.
That's great.
So yeah, the little nice holiday family story for you.
And I'm going to guess, under $2.50 won on those scratch cards.
Won $2 out of like $50 of scratch cards.
Good call. Good call.
So there you go. Yeah. Gotta love the holidays. A couple heartwarming holiday stories for you.
Awesome.
That's it for Parent Corner 2019. We have one more BS podcast coming this week. Don't forget about CarMax.com. 50,000 CarMax vehicles nationwide, all available. Stop by your local CarMax for details and discover how easy buying a car at CarMax can really be. Don't forget about the rewatchables with Quentin Tarantino as well. Dunkirk, that is up now. And Book of Basketball comes back next week, as well as the second episode of the rewatchables and all the other awesome podcasts we have on the Ringer Podcast Network. Plus, don't forget about the ones that we put up this week. Some new ones. Russillo has one, Big Picture, whole bunch of ones. So check all that out, and we will see you here on Thursday.